Hello and welcome to another edition of You and Me and Multiple Sclerosis. My name is Pam, and as you know by now, I've been living with multiple sclerosis for over 37 years. Well, on June 21st, not only the first day of summer and the longest day of the year, but it was the fourth and final visit to OHSU for my clinical trial for MitoQ. And I wanted to just kind of give you the lowdown on what happened. And it's been such a long time, so let's go ahead and just review some of the basics about this particular clinical trial. The title of it is MitoQ for Fatigue and Multiple Sclerosis, and here's the description. This clinical trial will evaluate the potential beneficial effects of MitoQ on MS fatigue. It will also explore the effects of MitoQ on cognitive function, quality of life, and mood. If enrolled in the study, patients will take 2 capsules of the study drug or placebo at the same time every day for 12 weeks. There will be 4 study visits where the participant will undergo medical and nervous system examinations, questionnaires, and blood draws. Because it is a placebo-controlled trial, participants will have a 33% chance of receiving either placebo, which is inactive, 20 milligrams of MitoQ, or 40 milligrams of MitoQ. This will be a blinded, randomized study, meaning neither the participant nor the investigator will know who received the placebo drug and who received the study drug. And I think I've mentioned before that this actual supplement is widely available. I'm taking a look here on Amazon where you can see what it looks like and roughly how much it costs. I've seen it as high as $62. They have it here for $56.66, which is the same price as it would be if you got it on Subscribe and Save. Sometimes you get a discount, but this time not. But I also wanted you to see the side panel that has the supplement facts. So as you can see here, the serving size is 2 capsules, but then the dose of those 2 capsules together is only 10 milligrams. And as you recall from the description of the study, even the smaller of the 2 test doses is 20 milligrams, and it could go as high as 40 milligrams. So it's the same basic thing as what you buy over the counter. It's just that we're taking a higher dose, or at least some of the participants are, and that is to determine whether or not that helps with fatigue. But as you can see, this is what's in those capsules. And if that's something that you're interested in, you can also find it on Amazon and probably many other places. And lastly, I just wanted to remind you of the investigator on this program. Dr. Yadav is from OHSU, and as you can see, she's very well credentialed. And I'll have more to say about her in a little bit, but I really appreciate that she likes to do research. She said she enjoys seeing patients, but the research is what really excites her, because she feels that that's what moves the field forward, and that's really where she feels her talents lie. So I really do appreciate the chance to have gotten to know her better, because I do think that she's a very bright light among those who are working in this field. So my 4th and final visit was very similar in many ways to what I had done the last couple of times. I had to come in fasting. After midnight, I wasn't allowed anything but just water, not even coffee, just water. So as we did last time, my husband and I drove down to Portland the night before and stayed overnight in a motel so that I could be hydrating the minute I got up in the morning, and that made the blood draw go a lot easier. But back to the hotel, I was kind of hoping that I would be able to show you some photos of the hotel room that we had, because I had asked for the ADA room. So then when we got there, we arrived about 4:30 in the afternoon, only to find that the room was not ready, not even close to ready. The housekeeping was in there. They hadn't even made the bed yet. I'm sure there was a lot of cleaning she still had to do. So we ended up in another room. It was on the ground floor, thankfully, but it wasn't the ADA room. And I was kind of disappointed about that, but that's the way it goes, I guess. So anyway, the time at the clinic was very well spent and went well. I did all the same testing that I had been doing for the last couple of times, cognitive tests as I've described in my other videos, which by the way, I've linked in the description box below, all of the prior visits, physical exams, all that sort of thing. It was all pretty much the same stuff. But one thing that we discovered as Dr. Yadav was doing the physical exam, when she used that tuning fork thing to see whether I could feel the vibrations, I was able to feel them in my hand and in my heel and the top of my foot, but I could not feel vibration in any of my fingers or any of my toes. And that was kind of news to me. I remember years ago that I had problems with numbness in my toes and fingers, but it's been so many years, I guess I just got used to it and sort of didn't even realize that I kind of lost that fine motor sensitivity that I used to have. No biggie, I can still function, but it was an interesting piece of information. My conversations with Dr. Yadav were actually one of the highlights of this whole thing, even though, of course, we talked about the actual trial that we were doing at the moment. We also just talked in general about her perspective on the state of MS research and future directions and what looked promising and what not. And one of the things I was interested in knowing more about was BTK inhibitor research, whether she was involved in anything along those lines. And she has really been seriously thinking about doing a clinical trial on BTKI. And I said to her, well, unfortunately, at my stage of MS, it's probably not going to do me a lot of good. Even if BTKI holds a promise for people in earlier stages of MS, at the point I'm at, I'm missing axons and neurons altogether, and they're not going to be able to regenerate because there's nothing there to regenerate. And she said, don't be so quick to assume that. And she's quite optimistic that more could be done there than you think. So I said, well, if that's the case, sign me up. I'm more than happy to consider being part of that kind of clinical trial. I don't know when that'll happen. I'm hoping by the time it does, gas prices are a little bit better than they are right now, and likely to be in the near future. But yeah, that would be the one thing I think I'd go a little bit out on a limb and try, because I am so interested in the possibilities with BTKI. And I have a video on that, which I'll also link down below. But you can look that up all over the internet. There's lots of good information about that. So that's it. I'm done with my visits to OHSU for the clinical trial. I will now just be waiting two things. I'll be awaiting my check. That'll be coming in the next couple of months for $150. And then I'm also going to wait to hear what dose I was on. And I have no idea how long that will be. But I would be curious to know, because if it was 0, okay. If it was the highest dose, I can honestly say that I saw a revolutionary difference in my fatigue level. So I don't even know what to say as far as recommending whether you'd want to try that supplement. If you want to, go right ahead. It's, as I've shown you, it's available. I don't know whether the dose I got indicates that this supplement would have helped or not helped. So it's just all up in the air right now. But it was very much worth doing. And I, again, would encourage you to think about doing clinical trials when you're comfortable with the risks, because every clinical trial is going to carry some risk. That's the whole point. Moving research forward requires that some people volunteer to try therapies or interventions of some kind that haven't been tried before. And sometimes the risks are pretty minimal, like in this case. but sometimes they might be somewhat significant, so only you can make that decision. So in consultation with your MS healthcare provider, you can decide whether you'd like to participate. But that's it. That's the end of this section of my life. I hope that you found this journey interesting and learned a few things about clinical trials and what they're all about. But that's all I have for you today. Take really good care of yourself, and I'll see you again in my next video.